Hello and welcome back to the Croneo region, my Fakemon region based on Scotland and a little bit of Canada. In this video, I'm going to cover a handful of Pokemon that I think could have an evolution that ties in with the Croneo region. I'm not going to mention evolutions of regional variants in this video. They would appear in the videos whose thumbnails are on screen, and I'm not going to talk about the 5 evolutions that I made that weren't regional variants. For those, check out my evolution of every type video. Most of these that I will be showing have also appeared in other videos as well, but I'm going to be covering all the ones that aren't the exceptions that I just mentioned, including some new ones which I'll start with right now. Firstly, we have a Pokemon that deserved an evolution for over 20 years. Delibird. Yes, we have Iron Bundle, but that's just another mon that looks like Delibird. If I wanted my Delibird to get stronger, I wouldn't want to just get rid of it and replace it with something that looks like it. No, I would want it to evolve. That's why I feel like my evolution is justified. Said evolution is called Boogibird, with its name coming from Bogeyman. It's still ice flying, but with a funky new ability called Holiday Miracle. It completely inverses how the type chart applies to it. All of its weaknesses are now resistances, and all of its resistances are now weaknesses. Neutralities and immunities will remain the same, so it's just like an inverse battle in Gen 6. Boogibird may remind you of the Krampus, since I mentioned Bogeyman. This is intentional. It is based on the Bodak, a Celtic bogeyman commonly associated with the Kaliak, which is what I based the Ice-type Cronean Noctowl on. The Bodak goes down chimneys to kidnap naughty children. Kaliak means old woman in Old Irish. Bodak means old man in Old Irish. So an old man who goes down chimneys and is associated with winter. Sounds like Santa! Which is what Delibird is based on. Since it kidnaps children, that's why I kind of wanted to make it Krampus-like, with the horn and claw imagery on its head and feet respectively. I derived the name from Boogeyman because it's a general wintry bogeyman. It's a stronger and meaner Delibird, which I'm very happy with. A Pokemon I don't think gets enough love is Beheeyem. It's not dreadful by any means, but it wasn't dealt the best hand in the games. Plus, its design is fairly unclear. I decided to make Yueffoe as a result, named after UFOs, unidentified flying objects, just like how its previous stages are LGMs, Little Green Men or Little Grey Men, and BEMs, bug-eyed monsters. The way it ties into Croneo is very minor. Its eyes are star-shaped, like the UFOs in a Scottish UFO sighting. The concept for the line is that LGM is your stereotypical alien in UFO stories. Beheeyem is actually based on the Men in Black, an urban legend where someone, usually an almost identical pair of people, in a suit and sunglasses would go to somewhere which had a UFO sighting and cover it up. If you're thinking of the movie series, they're actually based on comics which were inspired by the urban legend. The inspiration is really hard to notice in Beheeyem, but you can see it's meant to be wearing a trench coat, as well as a hat. So I felt like the natural next step is to do who the Men in Black would answer to. Since this line is very clearly an alien, it makes sense that these aliens would answer to the mothership. So that's what UFO is, their mothership, and its head is shaped like a UFO as a result. It's also all in black to resemble the Men in Black themselves, to make the design philosophy of the line more clear. Canada's national animal is the beaver, so an evolution to Bibarel made sense. Its name is Bibelete. I wanted to see if I could have something Scottish in my Canadian-themed Fakemon. A Scottish invention popular in Canada is the Highland Games. Originally developed in the Scottish Highlands, it involved big displays of strength, such as the caber toss, which is throwing a massive log of wood, which is what Bibelete is doing. It is an athlete after all. Plus, beavers like wood, so it made sense to incorporate this iconic sport of the Highland Games into an already pretty Canadian Pokemon. This display of strength makes normal not make much sense anymore, so instead it is fighting water, since there's no point of getting rid of both prior types. My Carkol evolution is called Locoalmotive, whose name comes from locomotive and coal. I was one of the many people who felt Colossal was a tad underwhelming. I do feel said people missed the point of the design though. Rock Monstermon have always given a kaiju vibe by the end, and a lump of coal to a minecart which transports the coal to a furnace which burns the coal is a pipeline which I think makes a lot of sense. I'd argue a train would make more sense for this design concept, as they have furnaces too, as well as wheels, which minecarts also have, which is why I made the design. But Colossal fans rejoice, you can still get it, but people who were disappointed now have Locoalmotive as an option too. As to why I put it in Croneo, coal was very important to the Industrial Revolution, which happened throughout the UK, so not just England, which was Galar's inspiration. but Scotland too. Trains were a major part of that too, which utilised the steam engine, which although wasn't invented by Scottish engineer James Watt, was revolutionised by him. Now meet Togesaur! Did you know that sauropods were believed to walk what is now the Isle of Skye in Scotland? That's nothing to scoff at. I'm not going to go too much into this one, but the basic gist is that I decided to make Togesaur evolve from Togepi, and not Togetic, because I didn't feel like the design would quite work. Plus, a dinosaur hatching from an egg is different enough to a chick hatching from it. I also felt like the luck theme from the line, which likely comes from the Korean legend of the Togepi, made me think about how unlucky dinosaurs were to be wiped out by that asteroid and its aftermath. The fairy dragon typing, although not unused, is exclusive to Mega Altaria, so I felt like it would make sense for this mon to have that type, which fits due to other dino themed mon also being dragon type. So now for the Absol family! And I mean family, since I gave it a baby and an evolution. The baby is called Desinee, coming from a baby speak way of saying destiny, spelled in a way containing sin and ending similarly to banshee, as it is based on banshees, a Celtic monster that has a wailing scream and can be an omen of death. Fitting of the Absol line. It's also based on the Cane Bairns, babies that were taken by witches to act as a tax to the devil, which feels sympathetic yet of the dark type. Desinee evolves into Absol, who then evolves into Herasight, coming from heresy and foresight. It's now a dark psychic type, with an ability that halves the direct damage it receives. So how is it Scottish? Well, a few things. Firstly, there's the Bineary, a mythical washerwoman from Scotland who is an omen of death, seen washing the clothes of those who are about to die. She was also a type of banshee, and if you catch her off guard, you get granted 3 wishes, almost as if she knows the future but could change it to bend to your will. Another inspiration was the Cognac Odar, which translated from Gaelic to English is Dark Kenneth, who was also known as the Brehon Seer. Kenneth Mackenzie could apparently see into the future, according to legend. Think of him as Scottish Nostradamus. The armour on Herasight is actually a reference to some of his predictions being about war, but also his connections to Brehon Castle, where he works as a labourer. I mean, castles have knights and stuff stereotypically. It's a stretch, but I think it works. It's disputed if he existed at all, but if he did, he would have used an Adderstone to help him make his predictions. An Adderstone is just a stone with a hole through it, but according to legend, it has psychic properties. And I want to reference that through Herasight's chess thing, and it's essentially also a planchette, like from a Ouija board. One last thing is that it's got way more horns than just one. Absol's head is reminiscent of the yin-yang, a taijutsu symbol, most commonly seen in Taoism. This development makes sense to complete it in a way, with the second horn softly referencing the symbol, but it has 2 added horns to make it look more fierce and evolved. For those not in the know, the Baizi is a Chinese mythological creature which Absol was quite heavily based on, which I kept in mind for the evolution, and thought a lot about the white coat and horns as a result. This one's a simpler one. The Wooloo line is a line I really like from Gen 8. It has Wooloo and Dubwool, which is essentially a bigger Wooloo. Some football themes are developed, however. For the American audience, I'm sure you all know I'm on about soccer. Clubwool then is Dubwool but bigger, and even more developed football theme, with it now being a retired footballer who is serving as a coach, hence the more aged and raggedy appearance, since retirement comes with age. Age comes with experience, and experience in football can come with treating yourself rough. I decided also to retroactively justify the similarities in all 3 stages, with it being a reference to cloning. Dolly the sheep was the first successful clone of an animal who was cloned in Edinburgh, Scotland, so therefore this fits both the mon and the region, and is referenced through the wool pattern changing to reference the clones from Mewtwo Strikes Back. Meet Chimonarch. The name comes from chime, like its previous stages, as well as the word monarch. It gains the normal type due to it being immune to ghosts, since this line is meant to ward away spirits, as well as the fact that it's a line that goes from a bell to a wind chime. And normal is the sort of sound type, so I felt like it just made sense. The crown and diamond motifs are a byproduct of what I wanted to base this on. I'm sure a lot of you have at least heard of the English playwright William Shakespeare, and maybe more specifically the play Macbeth. It's a tale about a would-be Scottish king going down a dark path to get what he wants, but what's more important to this design is the alleged curse surrounding the play itself. According to the legend, if you say the name of the play in a theatre, you will become afflicted with disastrous consequences. This made me think of other Scottish curses, so how about the Curse of Scotland? Well, that's the nickname for the 9 of Diamonds playing card. The name is speculated to be due to many reasons which I'll not detail due to time, although one of them is to do with the Scottish crown having 9 diamonds. All of these connections with curses, the Scottish crown and the 9 of Diamonds made made me want this Pokemon tied with curses and spirits to wear a crown and have 9 diamonds in its design. Said diamonds could be the 9 black diamonds, 2 of which can't be seen because they're on the back of the crown, or the 7 diamonds we can see on the front, plus its 2 eyes, which are also diamond shaped. And finally, meet Hogmunny, a new masculine, but not male exclusive evolution to Buneary. The name is derived from bunny, like Lopunny is, as well as the word Hogmunny, which is the Scottish celebration of New Year's Eve. New Year's events involve fireworks. In Stonehaven in particular, there's a tradition of swinging fireballs, and in recent years there have been more attractions involving the manipulation of fire called firepoi, or fire performances. So if you couldn't already guess, it's part fire type now, which you could have probably guessed from the design, to be fair. Now, even though this idea came to mind as the result of a pun, there's more running deep through here. Even though aspects of Hogmunny make this fire type, I still wanted it to be normal for a few reasons. Firstly, I think this fits in with the line's established type history, since Mega Lopunny gained the fighting type on top of the normal type instead of simply replacing it, so I used the same logic here. Secondly, normal still works since it's an annual event. Sure, that's dumb, but I'm sticking with it. The third reason is music. I feel music is more integral to Hogmunny than any other major holiday celebrated by most of the population in Scotland, and normal is the sound type, as I've said. One more thing to mention about the Hogmunny inspiration, you could see the celebration almost as new beginnings. Another holiday that does that is Easter. Not that this has anything to do with Easter, but it's mostly that the rabbits are a symbol of said holiday due to their, let's say, multiplicative property, which ties into the new beginnings aspect of that holiday, so I felt like it fit to have this be a rabbit Pokemon, which worked with the pun. That's it for all the new evolutions. What did you think of them? Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Check out Croneo's Instagram, as well as our Discord server, and why not support me on Patreon? You get early access to some videos, where you can see them a week early, as well as being able to see some Fakemon designs before anyone else can. And with that, I'll see you next time.